welcome to Let's Get Growing. And we're into the second, well, it's just the end of the first week of September. We're on the garden, Bull Forest Garden, and we've got a bit of a mini heat wave going on at the moment, so it's very hot today, but it probably won't be by the time you see this video. So we're going to start with today's pack. So to start with, you should have 2 plants. So again, these plants are about providing greens for the winter. So the first one we've got is a little Landcrust. So Landcrust is quite a hardy little plant, so it'll grow through most of winter. And it tastes like watercress, but obviously it doesn't need to grow in water, but it's Landcrust. So the first thing we're going to do with this one, you can use it in salads, on pizzas, anything like you would do watercress. We're going to just have a tip and see how its root system is, and I think that's ready for a bigger pot. So I'm going to put it into this size and half fill my pot. I'll plant in the middle and then put my compost around it. So once you grow Landcrust, it does tend to self-seed. So I've got plants that pop up every year on my allotment without me growing them. So it's a good little plant to have. And then the next one, we did grow these last year, but yours have probably finished. So this is a new flat leaf parsley plant. Again, quite hardy over the winter. Give you some greens. Oh, sorry, we were going to look at its root system. So they're not all as developed as this, but I think this is ready for a bigger pot, so you just have to have a look and an examination and see if you think it's ready. Some sort of insect buzzing around my face. Okay, lovely. Put a label in it. And the final thing you should have in your pack is a packet of seeds. And these are Jacob's Ladder, which is also known as Polymonium, and I'm going to show you a picture. So it's a hardy perennial. It's quite easy to grow. It's an old cottage garden plant. It's got sort of bluey, purpley flowers. And the reason why I've chosen this one for you to grow is because it's quite it's not a massive perennial, so it grows quite nicely in pots. I've got some in my garden at home, and so now is a good time to be sowing perennials. And this one was some seeds we collected recently off the garden, so I'm just going to put them in a mushroom punnet. You should just have a little sprinkling of seeds, but that'll be enough, because you probably don't want that many plants, but you can always give them away if you've got too many to friends and family. And maybe we can do a plant swap at some stage. So the tiny little seeds, and I'm just going to scatter them and then just cover them up very, very lightly. Press them down. And put a label in. Now, in the last pack, we did some seed collecting, and you might remember that I said some of the biennials and perennials I was going to plant straight away, which I did do. And over here you can see, so these are hollyhocks. So there were seeds I collected 2 weeks ago, and I put them into compost, and that's the result of that. So that's, apart from the compost, that's not cost us a penny, and we'll have lots of lovely new plants to flower for next year, because they're a biennial. And then I also collected some chive seeds, and chives are best when the seeds are fresh, and then you can see they're all starting to come up too. These are just seeds that we collected ourselves. And then we also 2 weeks ago did some Nottingham catch fly plants, and they're all starting to come up. So it's nice and warm. It's a good time to be collecting and sowing seeds. So I'm still seed collecting, and these are the seed heads that I collected off the alliums from my garden that we grew in the Let's Get Growing pack. And if you look closely, you can see these little black seeds here. Again, onion family, so they're very like an onion seed. So we've got lots of them. So some have fallen into the bottom of here. There'll be more in there, I'll save them afterwards. So what I'm going to do is sow some of these, because again, from the onion family, they're better when the seed is fresh. So I've got quite a lot of seeds there, I won't use all of them. So same principle again. Fill up the seed tray. I'm not going to use all of them because there's too many for this pot. It's a bit of an experiment this, and it'll probably take them a long time before they get to flowering, but we'll see. Just put a bit more compost. They're a bit bigger seed. Put the label on. I'm going to save the rest of them. Okay, and then the final thing that we're going to do today is I'm going to just introduce you to cuttings. And so what we'll be doing today is practicing, well, I'll be demonstrating how to take heel cuttings. And for anybody who's interested in the subject, this is how I learned through this book. And it's an RHS book called Plant Propagation, and it covers a lot of different subjects: sowing seeds, how to divide plants, but also there's a lot of on cuttings in this. But today it's going to be heel cuttings. So let's go and have a look at what we can find. Okay, so taking heel cuttings, I did want to take some sage cuttings today, but I've had a look at the plants and there's not really any suitable material to take. If you look, what I'm looking for, they're too long, that's way too long. I could try to cut that down to there, but the best thing to do is, before you want to take cuttings, a few weeks before or a month before, is to trim your bushes, because you want some new growth. So what I've decided for demonstration purposes is I'm going to show you how to take rosemary cuttings. But it's also worth bearing in mind that today's like a really hot day, and I probably wouldn't choose to do it on a day that was this hot. I'll probably wait a few days until it's cooled down, and then the plant's got more chance of rooting. So let's go and have a look at rosemary. So what I'm looking for, and these were trimmed not so long ago, so I'm looking for some new growth, newish growth, and there is quite a lot on here that's attached to the main stem. So it would be new growth, but it's going to have some woody stem as well. So maybe if I cut it off, I'll be able to show you a bit better. So cut some of this off. So what I'm looking for here, this looks good to me. This looks about just the right length that I want, but I want a little bit of this tougher stem here, the main stem on it, and this is the heel. And let's see, I got a little heel on that. Could try it with the other ones. Got a bit more on that one. This is going to give it more of a chance of rooting. That one's a little bit long, but if you were going to have a go at this, I do quite a lot because they don't all root. That's got a nice heel on it, that one, that's perfect. and that's just about the right size that I want. And it's good to do it when the plant isn't flowering really, otherwise we won't flower till winter. That one's a bit long. And I think taking cuttings from heels is like the easiest way to do it, to be honest. So let's go and pot them up. So I've collected some suitable materials, and the important thing is, after you've taken the cuttings, is to try and plant them as soon as possible, otherwise they won't survive. You could try putting them in plastic bags if you're out and about. So this is my first rosemary cutting. So I've got my heel at the base there, and what I'm going to do is take off these lower leaves so the plant's not under too much stress, trying to keep them alive. And then I'll just leave probably about that many at the top, and I'm going to put several in a pot around the edge of the pot. So that's my first one. You can try and do this with any plant that's got a kind of woody stem. So you could do it with honeysuckles. I've got some hebes here, and some, I think it's Elaeagnus shrubs. Do it with clematis. I've done it with clematis. There's a lot of plants you can try it with. Like you could do it with sage. So I'm just going to do, I think I've got 5 in this pot. Some of these are looking a little bit tall. I think I'm just going to take the tops of these 2 off. And then I've also, like I said, I've got some hebes, a little heel on. I'm going to take off the lower leaves. And I've also got the I think it's called Elaeagnus. It's a variegated shrub from the sensory garden, so I'm going to give that a go. Again, I've got a little heel. Probably left a bit too much on that one. So if you want to have a go and you think you haven't got any suitable materials in your garden, you're very welcome to come on down to B.F.G and have a go. I know that Bev came and did some seed collecting one afternoon. And basically it's the principle that you're trying to learn here, rather than growing millions of plants. It's got a nice heel on it. And then when I've done these, I'm just going to put them in a nice shady spot. If it's not too hot, I make sure they don't dry out. I'm not using rooting hormone powder. I don't think heel cuttings need it really. So that's that. And I'm just going to end with my plant of the week, and hopefully you've all got some of these from the packs. And this is the dwarf dahlias. Look at these. This is a time when a lot of other flowers are sort of dying back and starting to look a bit straggly, but the dahlias just start coming into their own. They're really nice for September colour. And you can cut them as well. And that's it. Thanks for watching and happy gardening.
Mm-hmm.